Hi, I want to do a video today on powder measure, powder weighing, specifically for F-class and bench rest type shooting, where getting a very accurate charge weight is important. And I've been spending the last year or so looking at different ways of getting accurate target or powder weights. Looked the criteria for me is the accuracy, the speed at which you can run through the process and load up 50, 100, 200 rounds. And then the price of doing it. This video has been made in July 2022, so any prices I reference will be based on that. So I've come down to two different systems that I like. There's the AutoTrickler, which uses the A&D lab grade FX 120i scale. I've got the version 4. That gives me accuracy down to 0.02 of a grain. So what I'm looking for is any system that can reliably get below the 0.1 grain level of accuracy or extreme spread. So the AutoTrickler clearly does that. Some people will say, well, it's got a 0.04 accuracy range, because sometimes it measures under, spot on, and over, and the over-under under by 0.02 and over by 0.02, so there's the 0.04 range. But I only accept the unders. If I get any charge over on the AutoTrickler, I reject it. So I'm either 0.02 below or spot on my my desired weight. So the system that I've found, I'm going to take the camera off the tripod. The other system that I've found and I've been looking at and testing is this thing called the TargetMaster, which is made here in the UK and is battery powered. It's a trickler used in conjunction with a beam scale. Here I've got the reading, and it uses an infrared sensor on this here, so as the beam comes up into the sensor, it switches off the trickler, and you adjust it by the height of this beam just by that turning that knob at the top there. And I use an iPad. An Android would work as well. Got the camera just down here on the bottom corner, so it's focused in on the beam scale, so that I can see exactly where the charges come out. So and then so you create your main charge by using a powder measure, and so I'm going to be looking for I'm going to be doing this test on a 34 grain measure of N150, something sort of that would be a type of 6.5 mil Creedmoor sort of weight, because I know a lot of people shoot that. Well, so that gives you a fair idea. So I've set up the powder measure so it will give 33.5 grains ish, because the powder measure is above my criteria for accuracy. It cannot get to below the 0.1 grain. And I've tried the Harrell bench rest powder measure, and I've tried the Reading bench rest powder measure, and none of them can do it. So I'm just sticking with my regular Reading powder measure. No need to use anything more expensive than that, because I'm just getting that to be the bulk of the charge, and then letting the TargetMaster trickle up the final half a grain of the charge. And I'll be measuring out 10 of those, see how quick it takes, and then see how accurate it was. So that's what we'll be doing today. So as cost is part of my test here, is part of my consideration, instead of using a powder measure, which knew they're £100 plus, on eBay you can get an RCBS one for sort of £40, second hand, and for this that's sufficient. You don't need anything more accurate than the RCBS one. I guess even a Lee one would be okay, but because price is a consideration in this whole testing, I did go out and buy myself the Lee powder measure dipper kit, which has all the different dippers in it, and I just wanted to see how accurate that you could get with these. So to get my 33.5 grain sort of measure, that the Lee chart said for N150 I would need the 2.5 cc dipper, but this was so inaccurate even for gauging that main charge, that I just binned the idea. It was just too slow. The AutoTrickler, sometimes you would get in 32 grains into the pan with the dipper, sometimes you'd get above the 34 grains, and then you'd have to discard that totally and start again. The powder dippers, nope, just not good enough, even to get that basic first charge. So just a quick little section on how the TargetMaster works. It's battery operated, so anybody in the US or outside of the UK doesn't have to worry about plugs or what voltage it operates on. Just uses 4 AA batteries. There's a hopper in the top. Doesn't take a huge amount of powder, but because the theory is this is only trickling up the last half grain or so, doesn't need to have a lot. It's connected physically to the infrared sensor beam that switches the unit off. Press the red button, starts to trickle into the pan, and the speed at which it trickles is, and you can see here, it's slightly angled up a little bit, so the nozzle there is angled up. That is determined by there's a foot underneath the unit, and you just screw that up to reduce the angle, or screw it out to increase the angle, and that will determine the speed of the powder coming out. So the greater the angle, the slower the powder is going to come out. If you have it at too great an angle, it won't dispense any powder. If you have it at too little an angle, too much powder will be coming out, and when the beam sensor triggers to switch it off, you'll get an overcharge. So you just need to sort of play around with it, and depending on your powder, you just need to play around with that angle a little bit, and it'll be, so I'm using N150 here. If you went down to something like Bullseye, then much finer pistol powder, then that angle would need to change. So that's how this thing works. Okay, so now all set up. Powder measure's been set up to deliver 33.6 grains of powder. Beam scale set on 34 grains, so the TargetMaster just needs to trickle up 0.4, 0.5 of a grain. I'm putting the charges into paper cups, so that just makes it easier to measure it afterwards. Obviously you'd normally put them into be charging prime cases. I'm going to reject anything that goes over the 0 on the beam scale, and accept items just under. If it goes grossly under, and what I call grossly under, anything more than halfway between the 0 and the graduation mark below it, that's effectively, those graduation marks are 0.1 of grain, so halfway in is 0.05 of a grain. Anything that's outside of that I'll reject as well. just because I'm going for that consistency, I'm going for that high accuracy. Being it's a mechanical system, you're always going to get over-unders. It is not perfect, but hopefully there's not too many of them if you've got your speed set up correctly. And yeah, well, that's basically it. It's the angle that TargetMaster set up. So let's stop waffling on, start, and so we've done that. Now, the nice thing about the TargetMaster is that I find the AutoTrickler very sensitive. I cannot be measuring using the AutoTrickler and then be doing, while it's trickling out a charge, I can't then be walking around my room because it's so sensitive it throws the scale off. So that one's, I'm calling that one spot on. That was 38 seconds to do that one. So, as I was saying, the AutoTrickler is so sensitive, I've got to be sitting in my seat, I've got to be at the table, measuring out the loads. This system isn't that sensitive, and I could be, now that charged case, the paper cup I've just got, so that one in my book is just slightly under, and I'll record that on my sheet so we can look at it later. Number 2 slightly under. So yeah, while this is trickling out a new charge, I can be seating ahead on a case that I've just put powder into. You do need to wait this second just to let the beam settle down. You don't, as soon as it's switched off, don't pull it straight off and assume it's correct. So number 3 was fine. So we're just on 2 minutes now. I will put a banner on the video if you want to skip ahead and miss all this part out. And I know it's extremely exciting, but I don't want to put a break in the video, just for those skeptics out there that think I might be trying to sort of fiddle something. Yep, I'm calling that one spot on. I know what's going to happen while I'm recording this. The UPS guy is going to be delivering a package. Spot on. So that's 3 minutes 16 for 5 loads. See, for me that one's too low under. I'm going to reject that one. I'm actually going to tweak my powder measure up a little bit just to get us a little bit more. That one, I'm calling that one under, but within within my acceptable range. So that's number 6. So that number 2 and 6 is recorded under at the moment. See how much quicker that was, where I just tweaked the powder scale, powder measure up, just to deliver a little bit more powder on that charge. Number 7. So number 7 was just 5 minutes, so we're doing good here. The UPS guy's supposed to be here by the next 20 minutes, so hopefully we'll get this done by then. That's low but acceptable low, so that's number 8. That's spot on. Number 9. So now 6 minutes 30. And I'm calling that one as okay, so I'm now going to stop. 6 minutes 42.71. Can you see that? There we go. Okay. 6:42. Call it 6:43. Reset. Okay, other confession, I'm a dumbass. I've mixed my cups up and I've lost track. I know this is 1, 2 and 3, but the rest of them I lost track of. I marked down 6 and 8 as I think are low, so I'm expecting 2 to be very, very slightly low, and I'm expecting 2 others to be slightly low as well. So I'm going to call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I've marked them down there, but I just don't know where 6 and 8 are in there of the actual measures. So I'll zoom into the A and D so you can see that. And okay, so powder doesn't go everywhere. I'll get out my trusted area 419 powder funnel, which is a great, their powder funnel system is a great system. If you've got problems with static in your powder funnels, check out the area 419 stuff. So I said 34 grains, I've actually got 35 grains set up, so I apologise for that. So that's 35.04. Again, if you want to skip ahead, I'll put a banner up saying so I actually called 2 as low, 35.04, but it wasn't. Yeah, I'll put a banner up to say where to speed forwards to. Just want to make sure you guys are seeing this properly. Yep, you are. So I'm not going to speak the numbers each time because you can see them just fine. I will also say the guy at TargetMaster does not know this video has been done. I bought all this stuff myself. I have no financial gain to be made out of this. I am doing it for the shooting community and their information. The other thing, the TargetMaster website looks a bit funky. It looks like it's 10 years old and hasn't been sort of updated since then. Some of the pages are a bit wonky. It put me off to start with, but it is for reals. If the guy that owns TargetMaster listens to this, you might want to have a look at your website. Wouldn't take much just to give it a refresh. Okay, this is looking good. In terms of consistency, 3502. Guess I could have had the laptop here and punched in, but it's just a little bit of limited room. So once I've finished weighing these out, I'll stop the video again and just go away and plug these into a spreadsheet to get extreme spread and average and SD and all that good stuff. So just eyeballing this shouldn't be too difficult to do. So that one was 3506. So the lowest I got there was 3502 and the highest I got was 3506. So that doesn't take a genius to work out that I've got 0.04 extreme spread. So that's pretty good. But let me plug the numbers in, get an average. I mean, I think you can pretty much guess what it's going to be, and I'll come up with a summary in a few minutes. Okay, wrap up on the TargetMaster. To be clear, the TargetMaster does not make your beam scale any more accurate. TargetMaster speeds up the process of using the beam scale. You could have got that same accuracy from manually doing it, but we did that in 6 minutes 43 seconds, and when I've manually done that, it's taking me 12-15 minutes, and your attention has to be on that all the time. You can't be doing anything else while you're weighing out powder. Well, as I said before, the system is really nice that you can be doing other stuff during the powder charges, so you can speed up your workflow considerably. By the time you've got a powder charge, or you've got a powder charge going, you're seating a bullet, effectively by the time you finish powder charging, most of your bullets are being seated as well, so you're done. Whereas with the AutoTrickler, in my setup with a wooden floor and a wooden bench, although it's fairly solid, I still find I cannot walk around the room. I've thought about getting some foam underneath it. I haven't done that yet. I need to play around with that. But I cannot use the AutoTrickler and be doing anything else. So I'm completely devoted. So the AutoTrickler would have done that in twice the time, sort of 3-4 minutes. But those are 3-4 minutes, and that's for 10. So for 100 times that, sort of 30 minutes, you're only doing powder measuring. You can't be doing anything else. So the numbers came out, it was really pretty obvious. The extreme spread was 0.04 of a grain, which is great, and the average was 35.05, and for anybody that's interested, the standard deviation was 0.016. Now, in terms of price, the TargetMaster in July 2022 is £119 sterling. He charges £9 something to ship. Total ship to your door is £125 and some pence. Call it £126. You then need a beam scale. You can't use all beam scales, you can't use the Lee, you've got to use either a Reading number 2, I think the number 1 would probably work, you'd need to check with them on that. Definitely the RCBS 502 and 505 work. He does have a different sensor for the M500, that's supposed to be better. Don't know if that is extra cost or not, but I did not get that one because I don't have the M500. And he does have a remote control, so you don't have to press the red button. I haven't, because I only bought this TargetMaster for this video. I'm probably going to look to sell it on eBay, or so somebody in my club, one of my clubs, if they want it. I just wanted to see how accurate it was and how well it speeded up the process. So all in all, if we say a beam scale on eBay, £50–60, a powder measure on eBay, £40, so call the scale and the powder measure £100, 125 ships, so you're looking at 225 for a system up and running. If you're a reloader already, you probably already got the beam scale and the powder measure, so just 125 versus around £1,000 for the AutoTrickler and the scale together. So the scale's around about sort of 500, and the by the time you got it shipped and paid import taxes and all that stuff, the AutoTrickler is also around 500. So you're looking at a £775 pound, almost £1 saving there. And the AutoTrickler is 0.02 grains of accuracy, and as I've just shown with this setup and doing it how I do it, so I reject some of the weights, which frankly you have to do with the AutoTrickler as well. Sometimes it overcharges and you reject them. You're looking at £775 additional to get an additional 0.02 of a grain accuracy. If somebody had made this video beforehand, before I bought the AutoTrickler, I may well have not bought it and just gone with the TargetMaster. I'm going to stick with the AutoTrickler because it is slightly better, but it's a hell of a lot more expensive. So don't think there's anything else. Just a quick look at my notes. Yeah, the one other thing, I looked at lots of different ways of measuring powder. Was it just the powder measure? Was that sufficient? Just the beam scale? So the powder measure wasn't accurate enough. Obviously the lead dippers aren't nowhere near accurate enough even. I mean, and when I say accurate enough, I'm talking bench rest and F-class. I wouldn't even say the lead dippers are accurate enough for plinking. Just they're no, don't bother. The powder measure by itself, not accurate enough for bench rest or F-class. In my view, I know some bench rest shooters use the Harrow powder measures and they only use the Harrow powder measures, but I'm not confident enough with it. I like being able to go to a match and going with that confidence that I know all my powders are exactly what I want it to be. So powder measures, not good enough, and I've tested this one, I've tested the Harrow, and I've tested the Reading bench rest powder measure, and all didn't meet my criteria. And I've looked at some of the cheaper electronic scales, like the GenPro 300. Frankly, I wouldn't even use that for cooking. It drifted from weight to weight, so each charge it would actually drift up 0.02 of a grain, so for target weight. So it would be recording, you were weighing out 35 grains, but actually when you came to measure it, the first one would be 35, the next one would be 35.2, the next one would be 35.4 and 35.6. Terrible, dangerous. By the time you've loaded 100 rounds, you're so far, you're into danger, blow your gun up, harm yourself territory with the cheap electronic scales. Avoid them at all costs. Don't be tempted. Beam scales, excellent. And the TargetMaster just speeds up an excellent, very accurate measuring system. So I hope that helped some of you guys. If you're in the UK, and the guy from TargetMaster will ship abroad, but obviously that £125 number that I quoted is for shipping to in the UK. He's going to charge more, and then you're going to have to probably pay import duties and blah blah blah. So, but he will ship outside the UK. So, hope that was useful. And again, all this stuff is mine, not paid, not getting any financial incentive out of this. Thanks, guys.